This video is sponsored by Para Bellum Games, and if you like the miniatures that you're seeing in today's video, go take a look at their eShop and use EastMini10 to save 10% and support the channel. So today we're going to be painting the Buccephaloi. I don't know if that's how it says, spelt Buccephaloi. Anyways, from the Old Dominion. This is their new miniatures by Para Bellum Games. They're not out yet in the stores, but they are for pre-order, so go take a look at those if you want. And we're going to be doing some interesting speed painting. We did a Zenthial highlight here on this miniature with some black and then some actual Citadel white scar, because my army painter matte white airspray is acting weirdly, and so I decided to use the white scar instead. And to start off, we're not going to be following too much the artwork on the picture, sort of following the artwork that is like on the actual box of these miniatures. But the number one thing I'm definitely changing is the skin. As you can see, I'm going purple. Now the reason for that is because I've noticed a lot of the miniatures in the Old Dominion have like this purple goo that's bringing them back to life, right? Because these are undead warriors, and so I really wanted to have like that purple come out on this miniature. And this is the leader of the three miniatures. There's actually a leader in this one, which is kind of cool. I don't think I've ever seen another leader in their brutes before. So that's neat. I mean, you've had standard bearers and stuff, maybe with the 100 Kingdoms with their horses, I'm not sure, but their cavalry. But this is cool because this guy is a variant and you're able to change what he looks like and you can make him into the leader. So I figured, you know what, let's give him like the powerful purple skin that made him come to life. And the other two, I won't show them on the channel or whatever, but I might put them on my Instagram eventually when I do paint them, to just show the difference. I was going to put different colors. I was going to put like a spectral kind of color and a lighter, more humanoid like color maybe on the other one, just to really make them very different in how they were brought back from the dead kind of thing. As you can see, I used that base that I did in an earlier video. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. I show you how I make this base for this miniature. Just make them look epic. Some polished silver now for the eyes. I'm making his eyes look like as if they're like just silvery glowing dead eyes, you know. And warrior skin now for his hooves. Now this was the color I was actually originally going to use for his skin to make him look like the artwork, and then I said, you know what, let's make him look eerie with the purple and make him look more undead, more phantasmal, you know, kind of thing. And then we're going to the OG speed paints of blood red for all his garments here. And he's got these beautiful little straps and garments all over himself. He's got this beautiful cloak around his shoulders here. I don't know all the technical terms of Roman history or Greek history of all the names, maybe like a toga style or whatever, but the blood red on the Zenthial highlight does an amazing job. You know, wherever it's darker, it is dark. Where it's light, it is light. And especially when it dries up. And I was going to do highlighting on these later on with an air paint on top of it. But I kept looking at it. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't need that highlighting. It needs to be dark anyways because of the fact that these guys are undead and they're, you know, they're rising up to fight against the other Conquest factions and that. If you haven't checked out Para Bellum Games website, go and take a look at that, okay? Like, they have some amazing miniatures, great prices in my opinion, free shipping over a certain amount to even Canada and the US, to Europe even, all sorts of cool stuff. These miniatures are available per pre-order. I think they're coming out, they might actually be out now if you're watching this video. I think they might have come out on the time that I was painting this. I'm not 100% sure, but it might still be pre-ordered. Take a look anyways, and again, use my code EastMini10. You'll save 10%, and you're also going to support the channel. Like, I get a little gift from this, from people using my code, and I get to get more miniatures and stuff like that from them. So this is amazing. I'm so happy that Para Bellum supports me and other YouTubers out there with giving some of their stuff to us to look at, to build, to paint. Thank you, Para Bellum. You know, just again, a great big thank you. Ochre clay, and this is a weird color because I don't always expect this color to come out, and I really got to do the tops of my paint bottles to see what color it is, because I was thinking this was like a sandy-ish color. Well, it is, but it's a very decaying yellow. It's almost sorry to say, but kind of like a vomit yellow. I don't know. It's beautiful color. Like, it is a nice color, but I wasn't too sure about the hair, what I was doing with this. But it turns out pretty cool. It kind of gives it an undead look to him. Like, it's just, this hair was very dirty and muddy and stuff like that. The hardened leather now, we're going to be doing this on any of the little leather straps. I love the hardened leather in this paint range. This is the original one though, it's not the 2.0 version. They brought all their paints back into the new version. I just didn't want to rebuy all the same colors, so once I'm out of it, of course I will buy some more. But I find you don't go through these paints quickly. Like, you do not need to put a ton on. You should load your brushes though, so it gets into the nooks and crannies like it does, and sometimes I'm a little too specific with how much paint I put on my miniature. I'm like, oh, I just want to get this little area here, but I forget that I want to create the shadow and all that effect with it. Ashen Stone. Okay, so this is one of their newer white speed paints. It's got a little bit more gray than the original, what was it, Holy White, and less than the, what was the other one, Light Stone or Light Wash or Light something. Anyways, but really good. And I did a second coat over the face on that mask on the front there. Enchanted Steel now for the horns. We're also going to do this part of his staff or whatever he's holding there. I don't know if it's a staff or a mace. Looks like a giant mace, actually. This Enchanted Steel has just a little hint, a very subtle hint of, I think, dark blue to it. Just very, very subtle, though. It almost reminds me of Night Scales, where Night Scales was supposed to be a kind of blackish gray metallic. But I found it comes out almost blue, like a dark blue, and in the light it just does a different effect, I find, whichever way you're looking at it. If you're looking at it right in the light, I find like you can get a nice silver coat out of it, and it just covers up so well. Their metallic paints, speed paints, are doing a great job. They're not super all perfect for the whole light and shadow effect, but man, do they cover the areas perfectly. There's not a spot where I find that the paint won't go on. Whereas this golden armor here really runs a lot. And I took a bigger brush for this because I really need to cover up bigger areas. And when I first primed this miniature, I don't have greedy gold from the Iron Painter, but I have like a no-name, or not no-name, but like a store brand gold color that I've used in the past. You've seen me use them on Ankh miniatures and that. I was almost tempted to prime this whole guy and then just use regular paints on all the rest of the miniature and just have the gold already done. But I really want to work with the speed paints again, and because I haven't done big areas like this with the gold, so as you can see, it covers again very well, but doesn't really create a shadow effect in my opinion. It doesn't have that quality of light and dark. Even if it hits the darker areas, I just find it brings it back out the vibrancy. Like, you can look at the dark areas, there's not too many where the gold is though, but like even in the shadows, it just removes those shadows. I find it, you know, it's a nice paint to cover, but if you want to create more shadows, I think maybe a wash after, once it's really well dry, and it'll give you those shadow effects again. I would go like a light tone, like a lighter brown or something like that, just to cover it up, or even like a what's it called, Agrax Earthshade over it. I know that Citadel likes to use Agrax Earthshade on top of their golds. I would recommend it probably, but however, what I'm doing with this miniature is very different. I don't want to have too many shadows because of what I'm going to be doing with this color here. And this is probably the longest part on this miniature. Again, like I said, I could have primed them all in gold. Greedy Gold would have probably been the best one because I find Greedy Gold is very close to this color here as a speed paint. Maybe I'm wrong or whatever, but you can always write that down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, if I should have just primed them gold and then painted. But I love the Zenthial highlight, so could I have achieved that? Maybe if I would have put the black and then a Zenthial of the gold, it would have been kind of cool because it would have had that shadow of the black underneath and then put a wash on top of all the gold. Like, there's so many ways of doing this, and this is maybe an option I might do for the other two, is prime them in gold and then just paint over them with other colors, because you can easily paint over the gold paints. It's not a hard thing to do, and I've done it in the past with the Ankh miniatures. It saves you a lot of time, especially on this kind of miniature where he's pretty huge and lots of areas of gold to cover up. And it doesn't have to be perfect at it because it is an undead, but this is what we're going to be doing in the next part here. We're actually be using some air metallic paint, plate mail metal. Now, I do have this in the regular war paints, but I find it because it's more watered down to fit in an airbrush, it actually goes better to stipple it on like this with a little sponge and just dab it on little areas, and it gives a chipping effect, which is something I've never done before. I really love how it turned out. I really put it like on his mace there, on his armor, you know, it really gives it that effect. Then I use another air paint here just to blend it a little bit more of the skin where the light was hitting. I really wanted that purple skin to be undead looking. And again, the air paints just bring it for the fact that you don't need to water them down. You could put them on a wet palette, but I didn't. I put them on my dry palette by accident, and they cover up perfectly. Now, I kind of wish Army Painter had a oxidization paint. Now, I heard the plasmatic blue, I think is what it's called, kind of works for this. I haven't tried it. I might on the other miniatures if I do the gold again on them, of the other two of this Buccephaloi. Because Citadel's Oxide does a great job. Verdigris from Vallejo does a great job. So I'm wondering, you know, I did a video one time comparing those two, but I never compared that plasmatic blue from, or plasmatic green, or whatever the color it is. Anyways, there you have it, folks. Again, thank you, Para Bellum, for supporting the channel and sending me these amazing miniatures. I hope you guys have played this game. If you haven't, go check it out. Go save some money, support the channel, use EastMini10. Like this video as much as you can. Share it with people you might think that'll love it. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.